Hello, this video is on trigonometric functions, as shown here in the syllabus. A trigonometric function is a function which involves one of the three trigonometric ratios, sine, cosine, or tangent. However, on this course, you will only need to study the sine and cosine functions. To draw the graph of a trigonometric function on your calculator, you need to make sure that the calculator is set to degrees. To do this, from the main menu, select Run Matrix, press Shift menu to access Setup, and to scroll down to the Angle option. Then press F1 to select degrees, and then press Execute. To draw the graph of sine x on your calculator, from the main menu, select Graph, and then type the equation into y1. So press the sine button, followed by the x variable button. Press Execute to enter the function. Press Shift F3 to view window to set a suitable window, and then press F2 for zoom trig to set a trig window. Press Exit, and then press F6 to draw the graph. The domain of sine x is the set of all real numbers, and the range is all the numbers from -1 up to +1. The principal axis is a horizontal line located exactly in the middle of the range of the function. The principal axis of sine x is the line y equals 0, or the x-axis. The y-intercept is at the origin, the point 0, 0, which is on the principal axis. Note also that the graph of sine x increases through the y-intercept to a maximum point. The graph of Cosx also has a domain that is the set of all real numbers and a range that goes from -1 up to 1. Cosx also has a principal axis, which is the line y equals 0, or the x-axis. It has a y-intercept at the point 0, 1, which is at a maximum point. Note that from the y-intercept, the maximum point, Cosx decreases. The sine and cosine functions are periodic functions, so they repeat themselves over a certain interval. The period is the amount of x-axis needed for the function to repeat itself. The period of sine x is 360 degrees. Note that the period is the horizontal distance between consecutive maximum or minimum points. The period of Cosx is also 360 degrees. The amplitude is the maximum vertical distance from the principal axis. The amplitude of sine x is 1. Note that the amplitude is the distance from the principal axis to a maximum or minimum point. The amplitude of Cosx is also 1. The general form of a sine function is a sine bx plus d, where a, b, and d are constants. The absolute value of a, that is the positive value of a, is the amplitude. B alters the period, and d is the principal axis. The general form of a cosine function is a cos bx plus d. The graphs of sine and cosine functions oscillate about the principal axis. This means to move or swing back and forth. In general, sine and cosine functions have a principal axis y equals d. For example, the function sine x plus 4 has a principal axis y equals 4, as shown. Sine and cosine functions have a period that's equal to 360 divided by b. For example, the function cos 2x has a period of 180 degrees, since b is equal to 2. 360 degrees divided by 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Remember, b is the term which multiplies x. Sine and cosine functions have an amplitude equal to the absolute value of a. Amplitude is always positive. For example, the function minus 3 sine x has an amplitude of 3. Since the absolute value, or the positive value, of negative 3 is equal to 3. Remember, a is the term in front of the sine or the cosine. You can also find the equation of the principal axis by adding together the maximum value and the minimum value and then dividing by 2. And you can find the amplitude by subtracting the maximum and minimum values and dividing by 2. In the example, to find the value of d, we need to calculate the equation of the principal axis. Adding together the maximum and minimum values and dividing by 2 gives a value of 8. So the equation of the principal axis is y equals 8. And therefore d is equal to 8. To find the value of a, we need to calculate the amplitude. So subtracting the maximum and minimum values and then divided by 2 gives a value of 4. So the amplitude is equal to 4. And since the sine function increases as it passes through the y-intercept, a is positive. So a is equal to 4. To find the value of b, we need to calculate the period. Subtracting the x-coordinates of consecutive maximum points gives a period equal to 180 degrees. And equating this equal to the period formula, 360 divided by b, gives b is equal to 2. So the trigonometric function for this graph is 4 sine 2x plus 8.